Hi, and welcome back again. Doug Kyle Holtz here, and this is my Module 1 assignment for FTH 212 Striker Fired Pistols. This being our first week of getting it into Striker Fired Pistols, we haven't built the pistol kit that was sent to us by Palmetto State Armory, so I'm using my Glock 17 Gen 4. To start everything off, got to be as safe as possible, so let's make sure we got a Ride Pro ready to go, and we're going to show the instructor the weapon is clear. So dropping the magazine is empty, and I'm going to go ahead and lock the slide to the rear. I've got my flashlight here, and so I'm going to come up and attempt to show as much of the chamber as I can. But if it doesn't work this way, one more little thing that I would like to try and add to help out the situation for the instructor is throwing a chamber flag in, so that you know for a fact there is no possibility that there's a round in the chamber. I'm just going to leave that right there. There is no ammunition on or around my table. So I picked my Glock 17 because one, it's the flagship of Glock and it's one of my favorite weapons, and two, it was very easy to find the schematics for. So I actually just did a Google search and jumped onto the Glock website and went to their downloadable information where they have all of their user manuals or owner manuals there, and I just downloaded the owner manual, which lays it out by generation as well. So these are my schematics for the Glock 17 Gen 4. For part two, we had to talk about the tools and various applications that we had all throughout this module and so on. So some of the things that I would need to disassemble this weapon that I've disassembled numerous times, hammers and punches plus a punch block. So, various types, but I try and use a generic one as much as possible. Other things that I may use are going to be calipers for doing measurements, screwdrivers. I would use my screwdrivers and Allen drivers on my my red dot, so on and so forth. Very simplistic in design whenever it comes down to it. The only other thing that I would probably use, and it'd be very rare, would be roll pin punches, and that would be to affect the trigger. But it is a simple three, pin takedown, and all the rest of it goes together like Legos, so it's very simple to do. For question number 5, things that I would use to measure with would be calipers, a metallic ruler, magnets. That would be for getting a barrel length measurement, whether it be from from muzzle to breech face or actual overall length of the barrel. Your rifle or your barrel rods, definitely pencil, paper, and headspace gauges. I would use all those, like the pencil and paper. I'd use it for my spring length sketches and so on. I'd also use my calipers for that, the ruler and whatnot, also for other measurements. The rod and adapter would be for the barrel length and so on. Other things that, let's see, what was question number 6? Okay, we just explained question number 6, which is what we would use all those measurement tools for. So other tools that you would possibly need would be rear sight pusher, unless you get yourself a dovetail punch to fit in here, because it will assist you without marring up the finish on the top of the slide. Other things that you may want, if you are trying to customize the slide out, you might want templates so that you can mill out parts or mill out pieces of the slide and so on, or cut compensators and so on. Additionally, there's tons of aftermarket products for these types of weapons, so you can just slap most of them on and go from there. Additionally, if you like texture or flare or just the way that it looks, you could always stipple, so you would need a wood burning pin. All right, for question number 8. The things that I would be very careful with on this would be filing, stoning, and sanding, due to most of the parts being coated with the tenifering process. I don't want to affect that, since most of these parts aren't tempered. They've been given a chemical temperament instead of an actual heat temperament. I would be very leery about going through and doing anything. The most that I would do for material removal would be polishing maybe the ceramic stones and then using a buffing wheel or a rotary tool after that. Another thing that I'm not a huge fan of, that I would be very, very scared of, and that's very fragile, I hate roll pins. I mean, I know they're easy to replace, but they're just a pain in the butt. I look at a lot of the roll pins in place on a lot of weapons as being a cheap alternative to a solid pin. And then whenever it comes down to the number of parts on the weapon, my Gen 4 has 37 parts according to the owner's manual, and that's 37 total parts. That's looking at the spring cups separately as an individual piece, each one, and so on. So they break down into several subcomponents, which make changing out the key components in this very easy. So this was really the first handgun that I learned on, and it made a lot of things very simple. Now, when it comes to other handguns, other striker fired, there are things that I don't know. And that's the great thing about this course, is getting to delve and dive into these different variations and get to see them. So hopefully that answered all your questions for this week, and I hope to see you back here next week. This was another fun week. We're going to start diving into our PSA kit that we got from Palmetto State Armory to build the dagger, and we're going to start going over other things in the next week's module. Hope to see you then.